Bill, what do you know about the Renaissance?
Renaissance literally means to be reborn. The Renaissance was a cultural movement from the 14th to the 17th century. It started in Italy and then spread through the rest of Europe.
What is the significance of the Renaissance?
Historians often say this was an intellectual transformation between the Middle Ages and the modern era. The period saw revolutions in intellectual pursuits. The period also saw social and political upheaval. Perhaps it is best known for its artistic developments and the contributions of such polymaths as Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, who inspired the term Renaissance man.
That all sounds very interesting. Where did the Renaissance begin?
The consensus is that it began in Florence, Italy in the 14th century. The Medici was the dominant family in Florence and there was a huge migration of Greek scholars into Italy. Following the fall of Constantinople at the hands of the Ottoman Turks, many say that the ideas that characterized the Renaissance had their origin in late 13th century Florence, in particular with the writings of Dante Alighieri and Francesco Petrarca.
I heard that during the Renaissance, money and art went hand in hand. Is that true?
This is true. Artists depended totally on patrons while the patrons needed money to sustain geniuses. Wealth was brought to Italy in the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries by expanding trade in Asia and Europe.
Tell me more about the political structure during the Renaissance.
The unique political structure of late Middle Ages Italy have led some to theorize that its unusual social climate allowed the emergence of a rare cultural efflorescence. Italy did not exist as a political entity in the early modern period. Instead, it was divided into smaller city-states and territories. 15th century Italy was one of the most urbanized areas in Europe. It seems likely that the classical nature of the Renaissance was linked to its origin in the Roman Empire's heartland.
The Black Plague hit Europe, and particularly Italy, very hard between 1348 and 1350. How did this affect 14th century Italy?
It has been speculated that the resulting familiarity with death caused thinkers to dwell more on their lives on earth, rather than spirituality and the afterlife. It has also been argued that the Black Death prompted a new wave of piety, manifested in the sponsorship of religious works of art.
Were there any economic consequences due to the Black Plague?
Yes, food prices and land values declined by 30 to 40% in most parts of Europe between 1350 and 1400. The survivors of the plague found abundant land at cheaper prices.
What were the main characteristics of the Renaissance?
There were 5 major characteristics: humanism, art, science, religion, and self-awareness.
So Bill, if I understand you correctly, the Renaissance was a cultural movement that profoundly affected European intellectual life in the early modern period, beginning in Italy and spreading to the rest of Europe by the 16th century. Its influence was felt in literature, philosophy, art, music, politics, science, religion, and other aspects of intellectual inquiry.
That is correct.